Welcome,
everyone.
everybody, back to the third episode of the Speakeasy Podcast. I'm still Victor.
I'm still Joey.
Welcome back. So, first of all, let's just address the technical issues.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be a brief segment, but we might as well get it over with. We had some technical difficulties with the Discord mic.
Yep.
So Joey was kind of trapped in the 1930s.
I was in a can.
Unfortunate.
I'm hopefully not still in, but
very unfortunate. But we've done what we could to alleviate the issue, and we hope that the quality is better for now.
Let's hope so. Well,
with that out of the way, welcome back, Joey. How have you been?
welcome. I'm very good. You know, we after last week we got better after the sickness, but no, it's been a calm week. Really, not much happening. Just going through daily life as usual.
It's actually sometimes not the worst thing in life to have like a calm, regular week where you just do your thing.
Yeah, not much happened. So, what about you?
I've had a very good week. I went to the doctor because of my back.
Yeah.
And that was a positive experience because I originally went in and got the MRI, and they told me you have somewhere between 1 and 5 slip discs, and I went,
Yeah.
that's a lot. But then they told me with the first place I went, we can't really do anything with that. We're gonna send you to the other guys. So I went to the back clinic at the Frederiksberg Hospital here in Copenhagen. They were very nice. The doctor was old. He was like, I guess somewhere between 70 and 80. A very nice guy, right?
Wait.
He was just sitting there. Yeah, like really old, right?
Okay.
But he was really nice, very good at taking my notes. Asked me about everything, not just my back, but like how does it connect? Where do you feel the pain? All that stuff. That was very nice. Then he had with him a physiotherapist, of course, because, you know, you need some exercises and whatnot. And she was very, very good. She like did all sorts of flexibility tests with me to see where it hurt and where I was stiff and whatnot. And then they concluded that most of my pain is muscular. It's actually not the slip discs themselves. It's the muscles around that tenses up and kind of puts pressure on nerves, and stuff like that. So he said when that's the case, you have a very high chance of recovering completely. We should probably be able to get you out of pain and doing all the regular stuff without surgery or anything. So that was very nice. And then the funniest thing was he then got up. He was like, okay, I'm gonna leave now. I'm only the medical guy. I'm gonna just let the physiotherapist do the rest of the things, right? And he gets up and he goes like all gingerly, right? And he walks like he's like taking a dump, right? He's like, and I was like, man, it doesn't look. It's a bad look when your back doctor goes in like, So that was kind of funny. But so that was really nice. She gave me some exercises. I got some pills to sleep on, some muscle relaxers, because apparently when you sleep, you don't control your movement as well as you do when you're awake. So when you turn over, you might actually do something that make the muscle tense even more. So that makes sense. So now I'm taking that. That's been helping a lot. I've slept better.
That's good.
So that was very good. Very good.
Very nice.
And then I'm going back in 3 weeks to see what helped with the exercises and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was very positive. They did conclude that I have 3 slip discs.
Okay, so it's not 5.
No, I mean it's bang in the middle, right? Well, was hoping for one. Was hoping for one. I ended up with 3. You know, it'd be what it'd be. So that was good. That was all good.
All right.
Other than that, I had just a relaxing weekend. Actually, we went out to dinner on Monday with my father-in-law and his wife. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. We went to a fancy place.
As he does.
As he does. And it was it was right at Kongens Nytorv. You remember Kongens Nytorv, right? The central square almost. Not central square, but like a central square in Copenhagen. And the restaurant had like windows right out to it, and it was very nice, and we sat there, had a nice meal. So that was very nice.
Yeah. I remember one really expensive restaurant I went to when I was in Copenhagen.
Which one?
What's it called? The Steakhouse.
Oh, you went to MASH, didn't you?
Oh yeah,
you went to MASH.
Yeah. That was crazy. I feel like the food in Copenhagen is really top tier.
Yes.
There's a lot of good stuff.
ever since Noma got world famous with the, then came the Geranium, currently the world's best restaurant according to the price, the award thingy. Those two have really driven the forwards, and we have a lot of very top tier restaurants. So the food scene is buzzing, as they say.
It's funny because if you watch any like shows on Netflix, on any cooking show or anything, they're always like, oh yeah, and I studied here, and I worked under this and I worked in Noma. And like, oh yeah, well obviously that's why you're here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
It is funny though. Noma is actually closing down. They're shutting it down. Yes, they're becoming more focused on studying food and how like the culinary practices have evolved in the Nordic countries. But they're still gonna do some pop up. Apparently, they're doing a pop up in Japan, not too far from now.
Oh, cool.
So very cool. And I follow the restaurant scene a lot because I think it's very interesting. And there's a very famous Spanish restaurant called El Bulli that did the same thing. That used to have 3 stars, and now it's a culinary school and like a study
that's so cool.
instead. Yeah, so not an uncommon route, but still very interesting. So yeah,
very good.
We have one thing briefly to talk about. Yet another because we're you and I tend to shoot this on the weekends, right? But now we're shooting on a Tuesday because of some scheduling issues. Right. But that means we've had the pleasure of another Formula One Grand Prix.
Oh, we did. Oh, okay. So we're gonna do a weekly touch up on.
Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah, I like that. Sure. Do it.
All right. Well, another boring ass race.
Yes.
Which I thought it would be very exciting because Max started 15th.
Yes.
Blur started 12th. You know, getting through the field must be very exciting, but
yeah, it's a fast track.
It felt really, really boring. And
oh man, I agree with you 100%. It's just when you see the top speeds and the lap times, you go, this is gonna be a fast fire. Like lots of places you can overtake because it's so fast. The DRS is gonna be hella strong.
Yes.
But then in reality, it was just, okay, there's just too big of a gap between most teams that it actually ended up. It was funny because when you saw the start grid, it was very spread out. It was not like Red Bull 1, 2 and Ferrari 3, 4 and whatever. Very spread out. But in the end, it was like Red Bull 1, 2. Then it came the Aston Martin was the third. But then the pairs just came, like the teams came down the orders, right? So
speaking of Aston Martin, Alonso got a penalty.
Yes,
5 seconds, which he did in his pit stop. He drove all the way to third again.
Yeah.
Then after the race, all of a sudden they decide, oh yeah, it's another 10-second penalty because they didn't do it exactly correct. Aston Martin goes to appeal. They were like, they got 7 receipts of like 8 other people have done this. Hello, why are we getting penalized?
I know.
And then they get the P3 back, and Alonso is he's so funny on Twitter.
He is a fucking baller, man. That guy
if you've seen the tweet of like there's a George Russell which inherited third place.
Yes, and had to do the press conference as a third place as a podium.
No. I think Alonso still did the press conferences, but
he didn't.
Posted.
I'm almost certain
sure he did.
Wait, George Russell did the press conference. I'm gonna Google this. This is live.
Okay, I don't think so.
Yes, he did. That's third.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so
he's sitting here. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he posted on Twitter with a picture of like, so grateful for this P3. Even though how we got it, blah 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 blah, and then Alonso co-tweets it with when he got his thing back with the zoomed in picture of his head. It's like hola. Fucking funny.
Yeah.
But no, it was a boring race, and it happens. But
I think the most telling thing is, okay, I will say this. Max did get the best timed safety car I've ever seen. Like, he literally decides not to go in. Bang, next round. Okay, so here comes the safety car. Free pit stop, free fresh tires, consolidates everything. But what a monster car that Red Bull is. There is just going to be
ridiculous.
Unless Ferrari or Aston Martin pulls out some kind of technical like magician's trick from their sleeves,
It's not gonna happen this year.
No,
Next
I don't
year,
think so either.
I think next year could be because Red Bull still has the penalty from the cost cap incident.
Yes.
The catering. If
that is actually a wild thing that it's catering of all things. But
funny. $400,000 catering. But unless I don't think it's gonna happen. They can probably close the gap, but this year it's a wrap already.
I think so, and I think actually, if the funny thing is, if you'd asked me 2 years ago, there was no way Mercedes would drop that far, right?
No,
but
no one thought so.
They are incredibly far off. They're not even close. And did you see the rumor that Lewis is exploring his options?
Yeah, to Ferrari and so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it would be fun. I think because there is a possibility with Audi coming in and Sainz, his dad being an Audi driver, that Sainz goes to Audi, Lewis can go to Ferrari. That would be cool, but I doubt it.
I think the thing is, assuming that happens, that Sainz leaves, you would have to instruct Lewis that he's not going to be first driver, right? Because you want to nurture Charles Leclerc, right? And if he you think so?
You cannot get Lewis Hamilton to come to your team as Ferrari and not be like, you're gonna be second driver. But he's never gonna go there.
But how many years do you think Lewis has left? He's old.
I feel like competitive, actually competitive. 2 or 3 max.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, right? So imagine it's another year.
Yeah, I mean, judging from Alonso, you can go.
But, and Mika Hakkinen raced until he was very old as well. But and Kimi as well, right? But I don't know. I think the most likely thing is he stays at Mercedes. So Toto whips out the checkbook, gives him a fat contract, and then you know.
I mean, he's still got the second fattest contract in the business.
Yes. But it's interesting. I will say though, I was very happy to see Kevin Magnussen actually scraping the point, because he is. That's the one thing. I watched the race, and that's the one thing he's very good at, is overtaking. He has the very, very aggressive overtakes, right?
Yes,
not always very good at pacing the races, not always very good at protecting tires and whatnot. But that kid can race. He will overtake anyone if he can. So that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh well.
It was a fun battle at the end. I think it was Tsunoda or something.
Yeah, Suzuki. Yeah, you want to know what's wild is I feel bad for George Russell and Lewis Hamilton that you sign up for a championship winning caliber car and you end up fourth. But what is going on at McLaren? What is happening?
Oof.
That's wild to me.
On one end, because I love Daniel Ricciardo.
Yes,
I'm like, I am glad he's gone from that.
Yeah.
Because he got himself an $18 million cash out to buy out his contract.
Yeah.
And the only thing, to add on top of that, he doesn't have to drive this fucking shit show of a car.
Yeah, I know. Did you see apparently Lando Norris was punching walls?
Yeah, after testing. Poor Lando.
Yikes.
I feel bad for Lando though, because Lando is
very, very talented.
Is a very talented.
Very talented, very, very fast.
So I do feel bad for him, that he kind of signed his life away to McLaren, because I think his contract runs until 26.
Yes, he got the 5-year extension or some shit, right? Yeah.
So if they don't figure that shit out,
that's gonna be a shit show.
He's gonna be depressed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
anyway,
I think
that's about wraps it up, I guess.
Yeah.
Should we just do the very first cheers of the episode? Cheerios, good sirs. Cheerio. Okay, here we go, everybody. It's time for this week's album, Joey. And this week we're tackling what is undoubtedly not only a classic, but a quintessential rap album.
Yep.
Shaped a
People
lot of
say the Bible of rap.
Exactly.
Claim it to be. And I am ashamed to admit that these are gonna be my second listen thoughts.
Yeah,
because I've listened to some of the songs randomly, but this is the first time I've really, really listened to the album.
That's wild to me. But yeah,
God damn,
what an album! Yes, exactly. It is, of course, the one and only Illmatic by Nas.
Yep.
Also, a very old album. has its 30-year anniversary next year, which is wild.
30.
Yeah, came out in 1994.
It's 6 years older than I am.
Yeah,
Jesus.
that's wild.
Whoa.
um,
Okay.
Obviously, it's a very short album, only 10 tracks.
Yep.
Very well curated album, and also this is just general thoughts. A very raw album. It's a very not as polished as some of the albums.
I mean, wasn't he like what 20?
I don't think he was 20 at this point. Let me see. He is born.
I heard he was young.
Yes, he was born in 73, so he was 21.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy. That is wild. And for it to be his debut album too, it's ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah.
Should we start?
So should we get? Yeah, I think so.
What's funny is the first track is not even a real track. I feel like the Genesis.
I feel like it's just it's just an intro.
Yeah,
like,
it is pretty much.
It sets the tone. It sets the mood.
That it does.
I feel like. Yeah.
Yes, and you hear Nas rapping in the background, and it's just it feels like it's a tone setter for where we are. Obviously, we're in New York.
It's called the Genesis.
Yes, the Genesis.
But yeah, no, it just kind of him and his friends. I feel like they're in his living room, just doing young guy shit.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Already they're talking about money, right?
Yep.
Talking about the Jacksons and the Grants. They're I think it's clear that they're talking about money they're gaining from drug dealing. It's my read on it.
I mean,
so yeah, it is really just a tone setter for where they are in life, and it ends up with them talking about how it's wild in the hood, in the projects. So it's a tone setter, but there's not really
not really a whole lot to get into.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah. No.
But there
Next one, on the other hand.
Yes. Instant classic.
Oh my god.
What's
yeah, okay. So this again is just first listen.
Yeah.
And I there's no way because I've read the lyrics once. And I've listened to it twice, and there's no way you're gonna get all of the tiny rhyme schemes and double entendres in your first few times of listening. But I love the piano instrumental. It's really good.
Yes.
And it kind of, the beat is so well made for what he's rapping about.
Yes.
Because he obviously the song is New York State of Mind, and he talks about growing up and living in New York City at that time with gun violence and all that type of stuff, and how it is in the projects over there. And I love the line "Sleep is the cousin of death."
Yes, that is the original. That's the original use of that line, and it's so iconic. And in general, this is a theme, and that this whole album is just filled with iconic one-liners. The intro here, so straight out the fucking dungeons of rap. Like that line alone is just so iconic, right?
It just comes in so hard.
Yes,
but. What I did kind of feel like was that line with "Sleep is the cousin of death" is like I could see with context of growing up there and being there that sleeping could also be like called napping.
Yes.
And if you're caught sleeping in at the wrong areas at the wrong time, you could be dead. Yeah. So it kind of goes hand in hand with each other, like.
It's everything about this is double entendres. The way he speaks about the gun usage, he like it's just wild. He hits people. He picks up a Mac 10, Uzi. He sprays people. So what's going on? It's just such a hard song. It's the funny thing is, considering how I want to say like soft the intro is, like the Genesis, the track, the Genesis is not very hard. It's just tone setter. I didn't expect the first time I listened to this. I've listened to this album a lot. I love this album, but I remember the first time I listened to it, I was like, "Holy, this came out of nowhere!" It's not like you have like a second song that's just a vibe. Like it just hits you hard, man. And obviously that this also pioneered the whole New York state of mind trope where people use it in everything, right? It's just so iconic.
I did like the Scarface references.
Yes, there's so many cool.
I picked up on those.
Yeah. There's an Al Capone reference in there as well.
Yeah.
It's just.
But yeah, this is I love the instrumental. It's so good.
It's so dark and it's also so simple. There's almost nothing to it, but it's such an iconic.
I feel like that's a running theme across the album. It's the same with the hooks.
Yes.
All the hooks are very simple, but to the point.
So effective.
The same with the beats. It's so effective to go with the songs themselves.
Yes.
That it's just, it goes so well together.
Yeah, for sure. We should say this whole album is produced by DJ Premier, and this is where he is obviously a legendary New York producer, has produced a lot of classics, but this is his magnum opus, many people say. One other thing that's very cool is you instantly just know how far ahead of his time Nas was in rhyme schemes and flow switches and all. Wow, man, it's wild listening to, because you can clearly hear the influence on Jid and Denzel Curry and Kendrick Lamar. You can
a lot of shit.
Yes, you can definitely see where he gets this from. And I actually read a funny interview with Nas where he talks about at his age when he did this. He was 1920. There was only one other guy that actually did this sort of style of rapping, and that's Big L, who unfortunately passed away. And Nas says that was the guy he had to measure up against. That was Big L and his flow, right? So it's kind of cool to hear that he also had someone pushing him to do better. Yeah. But yes, iconic track. Not much to say. We could talk about each of these tracks, like you say, for an hour, and we would still not catch every little detail about it. So, but very, very nice track. Just a classic.
Yep.
Then we move on to Life's a Bitch. I actually feel like this hook is almost more famous than this track itself, because it's just such a simple hook. Sung by AZ.
AZ, right?
Yes. That's also on the intro on the Genesis. But it's just another track about it's just rough out here, right? You got to make a living, and then life's a bitch, and then you die.
It's just living life to the fullest, in whatever situation you're in. I do like Nas's flow on his part of the song. It really reminded me of how Biggie used to flow.
Yes.
And it's so buttery smooth, and he just like it. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh, dang!" Yeah, this one like caught my attention. I feel like the most, like this flow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this song.
A very, very nice song. Also, probably the easiest listening song on the album. You can put this on, bump it in the car. There's not much in it that you like. A lot of the other tracks are obviously very political in nature, where this is more about just making the most out of the life you're given, right? And in general, I will also say, obviously, Biggie also from New York. Makes sense that that's the sort of style that was prevalent there in that time frame. Also, I on this track in particular, you realize how many very long bars he has, like multi-layered bars, where it's not just one syllable, one sentence rhymes. They flow in and out of each other, and very, very nice. And then
It's
obviously
also
just like you said, the chorus. The chorus is just so iconic. Life's a bitch, and then you
yeah.
die. That's why we
No,
get high.
I feel like all of these songs really are just I didn't like because he flows for so long.
Yes, yes.
It keeps going. I don't know how many bars it is, but
Yeah, I don't know either actually.
that's one thing I noticed is that it because nowadays because with this generation's attention span, I guess the bars um like the verses become like almost a bit shorter,
Yes, I
and I
agree.
feel like back in those days it's like I feel like they go on for a minute and a half
Yeah,
just
yeah.
straight just flowing,
Yes,
which I really love.
I agree
um
completely. And I think
mm,
there's a few people that still keep that around. Lupe
yeah.
Fiasco, for instance, has done a wonderful job of keeping that type of rapping alive, where he
mm,
just flows for 4 or 5 minutes without a real hook and stuff like
yeah.
that. Very cool.
Yeah.
MF Doom also
Oh,
very long flow
yeah.
heavy verses where he just goes on and on.
Yeah. Shout out to a future episode of Matt Villainy.
Yes, yes. Obviously, we have to dig into that one.
Yeah.
But this is for me more raw than the other one. This is you're this is the one rapper where you're never in doubt that what he's experienced is actually what he's talking about. There's
Mm.
no way you ever go and think, but is he really that kind of guy? Did he really? It's just you're there. He puts you in the exact spot. You go through
Mm.
his thoughts. You go through his motives.
Yep.
That's just who he is, and that's
Mhm.
very very cool.
Yep. I agree.
Then we move on to the first very scratch heavy track, "The World Is Yours."
I put
Ooh,
that in my notes. I love the stretches.
it's so
Oh,
good. It's
yeah.
so good.
Yep.
It just fits the track so well.
Mhm. Yep. And yeah, I put it's just go grab life by the balls and just go get it. You know?
Yes,
It's like you want to inspire everyone to live their best life, and as he says, the world is yours.
yes, exactly.
Um I loved the part where he talks about presidents wanting to represent
I
him.
want dead
Yeah,
presidents to represent me.
and like
Yes.
first he says presidents,
Yeah.
and I feel like obviously he wants presidents to acknowledge and kind of fix the situation that they're in.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then he wants debt presidents to represent him, as in he just wants a lot of money.
Yeah. Exactly. It's very cool.
Yeah.
It's just in general the whole track is very
Mm.
but it's very much about getting the lifestyle you want and
Yeah.
achieving wealth, fame. You want to be someone instead of just being another guy
Yep.
from New York, right? And
Hmm.
obviously that line is very very iconic. I want dead presidents to represent me.
Yep.
Um, Also, this is a way more groovy beat than the rest of the album.
Yep.
It's
I agree.
it's very addicting. The scratching is very addictive, and
It
it
is.
just works so well.
Yeah.
There's also some very funny lines about how he's in the rotten apple instead, where he's like
Yeah. I
trying to
saw
twist some of the imagery, right?
I saw that. But also Rotten Apple is, the Big Apple. New
Yeah,
York, the
exactly.
Big Apple, Rotten
Yeah,
Apple. Yeah. There's
it's just
yep.
very clever, very clever.
Yep.
Yes, it's a very long track. I think it's the longest track of the whole album.
Mm.
Almost five
Yep.
minutes. Um,
Hmm.
but this is one of the ones that's still on my rotation today. I have this on a few playlists, and it's just a very nice tone setter.
Yeah. It is.
I feel.
Yeah.
Also, I
It's
like
also
how he's
just
already
yeah.
back there. He's sipping Dom P, so it's already in '94. Dom Perignon was the go-to for rappers, which is kind of
Yep.
cool.
Yep. No, it's just
Yeah.
an uplifting song. I feel it's
Yes,
just
for sure.
gets you in a good mood,
Yep, for sure.
gets you inspired. I agree.
Also, he has a few lines about how you're born alone, you die alone. So
Mm.
you need to get what you can while you're here,
Yep.
right? Make stuff like that. Very very good song. Very very solid
Yep.
track. Um, then we come to halftime, which is one of my favorites. I love halftime.
I love it's just the thing that caught my ears first
Yeah,
was the lovely bass line.
mm,
That was the
for
first thing that
sure.
was like, ooh. because I love a good bass line
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in a track.
Also,
Um,
the intro is just so good. Check
mm.
me out, y'all. Nasty Nas in your area, about to cause mass hysteria. It's just there's something braggadocious about the way he's just Nasty Nas, where he's just giving
Yeah,
himself nicknames, which
yeah,
is kind of
Th-
cool, but also kind of
yeah.
okay. Flex,
This
flex.
this is one of the songs that I didn't have a lot of notes on because I felt like I was just kind of not listening much in the to the song, but more like kind of vibing to
Yeah,
it.
it's
Um,
so good. It's just so
yeah.
good. This has my favorite line of the whole album.
Mm.
And that's the one where he goes, "I'm a Nike head. I wear chains that excite the feds," and it's just such a perfectly summed up way of him, right? You could just
Yeah.
picture him like he wears nice sneakers, big ass chains. The police wants to know where he got them from. It's just such an
Mhm.
iconic line, and the way he says "excite" is almost like they get a hard on from it, right? It's just so perfect for the way they go on. Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, for me, this is the most easy flowing verses he has. I feel like these are
Mm.
just so smooth.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
why I feel like I just kind of just
yeah, it just
flowed
glides
into
through,
it
right?
and kind of didn't really pay much attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's taken him to write these verses, but the way he
Mm.
rhymes these verses make it seem like it's just coming straight from his head. Like there's no
Yeah.
in between, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where
I agree.
when you listen to someone like Kendrick, a lot of the time you know that there's been a lot of thought behind how many double or triple entendres can we get into this
Yeah.
bar and the math
Yeah.
and where you are. Well, this just feels like he hears the beat and then he just goes, okay, I know exactly how I'm gonna hit this.
Yeah. Yep.
Very very nice.
Yep.
He also I like how he raps about how you want to go explore rap and tell me Nas ain't all that. Like he's already back there. His first album is just like
Cocky as shit.
come at me, come at me. Like it's just so good. Also, I like the
Yep.
chorus. It's halftime and
Yeah.
the
The trumpets.
trumpets. Yes,
Or
exactly.
whatever the fuck they are.
So
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I don't even know, but it's so good. The horns,
Yeah.
so good, so good.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that after this dropped, he kind of because that's you know, him and Jay-Z, the whole King of New York thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I feel like after he dropped this, he kind of like he already felt like he
It
kind of
the minute
got
this dropped, this must have
yeah.
been such a affirmation. It's
Yeah.
almost like he's almost speaking it into existence, right? Because when you
Mm,
put something like this on a
yeah.
track and then you blow up, people are just
Yeah.
gonna respect it, and that's why he's still today in such high regard. And he's just
Yeah.
put out one of the best albums from last year, King's Disease 3.
Mm,
So yeah, it's so cool. It's just so cool,
yeah.
and be able to like you say, put this out and right in Biggie's
Yeah.
face and go, yeah, what's up, man? How you?
Yep.
What do you want? Like
Mhm.
what do you want to do with this?
Yep.
Also, he obviously calls out. We haven't mentioned it, but but he's from the Queensbridge area of
Yep.
New York, and he calls that
Mhm.
out a lot. And so I think now I'm not sure, but I think now it's actually a pretty nice neighborhood. But back then it was obviously very slummy.
Right.
Um,
I don't know.
yeah, and I
But
might be wrong on that.
if hey,
So
good for Queensbridge if it
good,
is.
good for
You know.
Queensbridge. But
Yeah.
if I'm wrong on that, let me know down in the comments below. But yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I like how this is literally the halftime of the album. It's actually track number 5, which is
Yeah.
S
Yep.
tier.
Yeah.
Then we come to Memory Lane,
Mm-hmm.
a very introspective track.
Yeah, I really like this one actually.
Hmm?
Because it's almost as he tells his story as if he's lived like 1,000 lifetimes already, and he's
Yes.
just talking to the younger generation. That's what I feel like, and takes you on a trip of about what happened in his life and things he saw growing up. Um, which again, we touched upon it when we introduced the album. I feel like Nas is way before his time, or
Yes, ahead of its time.
and yeah, ahead of his time, and he feels so mature for a 20-year-old.
Yes.
That making songs like this, you could just tell that he's so mature and
Yeah.
be able to articulate and make a song depicting growing up and just stuff like that. so well that it's just so good. Like
It
tremendous praise.
Yes, like the thing is that I can only imagine as a 20 or 21 year old whenever he
Mm,
recorded this,
yeah.
he has had to grow up and mature, as you say, very very
Yeah.
fast because of the things he's going through,
Mm,
the area he lives in, the way he has to make money
yeah.
to stay alive, pretty much,
Yep.
and just the way he still has the clarity to try and be somewhat of a beacon for
Mm,
the other
yeah.
young,
Role model.
yeah, role
Yeah.
model, right? He's
Yeah.
he's pretty much telling them like, we don't have to go through this, this
Mm,
is bad. He's like kind of listening, why are we doing this?
yep.
um Take a trip down memory lane, like all the thing. And I also like the way he's trying to encompass everybody. He goes, he starts out the first verse by saying, I rap for listeners, blunt heads, fly ladies, prisoners. He's going through, this is not just for
Yep.
people from the projects. This is for everybody. Like, we can do better, we can be better.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, very very beautiful track.
Yep. I agree.
Yep. Also, again, one of the longer tracks on the
Mm,
album.
mm.
And he still represents
Queensbridge.
Queensbridge. Yeah, in the
Yep.
end.
Yep.
Also, I will say there's one line that surprises me a lot, and that is
Mm.
where he says, "I pour my Heineken brew to my deceased crew
I
on
saw
memory."
that. Yeah, I
And I
saw
go,
that.
was Heineken
Yeah.
that big back then? I
I
don't know.
don't know because I feel like Heineken got big in the 2010s ish.
Yeah, maybe the zeros, right? 2010s, where
I
they
don't
sponsored
know.
every Champions League and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
they sponsored everything, and now obviously the biggest commercial beer brand.
yeah.
I think. Yeah,
I don't know
must be.
even. I
Must
think
be.
I can pretty much say Corona went down the hill.
No, I think Heineken is.
I think
Must
so.
be
Yeah,
yeah,
could be. It
but
probably
yeah,
is.
I don't know. Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
caught that too, and I was
Yeah,
like, oh, yeah,
but pretty funny. Pretty funny.
yep.
Um,
All right,
and then
come
we
to
come
One
to
Love.
One Love.
Yep.
If I had to
I'm a,
pick, if I had to
a
pick,
worst one.
yes.
Yep. Yep. Same.
Uh, it's
And it's not because of the. For me, it's not because of the content. For me, it's
no.
the hook. It is
Yes.
so annoying,
Yes.
and I cannot. This one love, one love.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
love.
I agree.
It keeps going
Yeah.
too long.
Yeah. I agree.
But I like the beat. I like the xylophone on the beat is funny to me.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the content of the song I do really like.
Like
He talks to his friends in prison.
yes, the verses are very very touching in some
Mm,
sense, where he's like trying to
mm,
reconnect with them and trying to keep them
yeah. Up to
strong, or
date.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like make sure they know what's what and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think, and the funny thing is, if on any other album, I wouldn't even call this a bad track. It's just an
Mm,
okay track. But
mm,
this is for me a literal no skip album. I would not skip it. I
mm.
don't skip it either. But if I had to choose, it would be my least favorite because of the hook. But I still think the
I think
verses are very
I think
cool.
I would skip it because I really cannot stand the hook. I cannot get past
I
it.
get that. I can see why. I think there's also some
And
nostalgia in it for me because I listened to it when I
mm,
was a teenager back in my
yeah.
day, So
As a
yeah,
5-year-old child.
yes, exactly.
No,
But yeah,
but I like it without the beat. I feel like this would be one of my favorites. Sorry, not without the beat,
oh,
without
without
the
the hook,
hook.
yeah,
This would be one of my favorites because I really do like really personal and uh really also easy to follow tracks
yeah,
because you know exactly what he's talking about.
yeah.
Um and yeah, I do um yeah, I just put that so far like but I've already touched on it that it just keeps flowing. He keeps flowing. I think he has
Yes,
like
very long verses. Yeah,
again three verses on
yeah,
this track. But yeah, I do like this song. I just really don't like the hook, and
I agree.
that's what kind of puts me off.
I agree. I
But yeah,
agree. I
yeah,
will also say the third verse is kind of cool, where he is kind of more retrospective or introspective about
mm,
how it's not like he says a future in state pen is grim. So he's like, I don't want to go there. And maximum state
yep,
is grim.
yep,
but he still has to do what he does to take his mind off of things, right? Because he can't
Mhm.
stop. He needs the money, so he still needs to do illegal activities to be a
Yeah.
criminal. But he
Yep.
also is very well aware, speaking to the people that he knows who's in jail, where this could end up. So
Yep.
the bad subject matter of the track is very nice, but I also think
Hmm.
it's not the most well executed hook.
Yep.
Okay, then one
One
time for your
time.
mind.
Yep. The, I kind of um I felt like this one is kind of out of place to me.
Yeah,
This felt like it slowed the tempo of the whole album down by a lot. Um I think it just felt like the instrumental was very slow and low paced.
yes,
The bars are very slow as well because obviously they have to match the instrumental. But I do like the again the bass line, um, and the
I'd like
but
the beat in general. The whole it sounds
mm,
like it's reversing itself almost.
mm,
Du-du-du-du-dum, where it goes back.
yeah,
It's very very nice beat. I,
yep,
I will say I agree with you. It seems out of place. I would much rather have preferred this to be the second track where you come
yep,
in after the intro. And this is like a start off point, and then it goes into some of the more
mm,
hard hitting tracks.
yep,
But I still this is still a track that's very nice to listen to.
hmm,
I just agree with you. It's just kind of strange placement on the
yeah,
album itself.
hmm,
Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a lot of the same subject matter, right?
mm. Yeah. I don't have a lot really much to add to this one really, because I
No,
didn't also again I didn't really put that much notes on this one.
no. I mean,
Um,
I think it's much of the same. He's here. He's kind of like thinking about and looking back at how he's the new kid on the rap block. He says, "I'm new
mhm,
on the rap scene. Brothers never heard of me, but I'm still good. I'm still a menace. Police want to murder
yeah.
me," which I think is a powerful message, right?
Oh,
Because
it
it
is. Yes.
kind of shows how he's thinking.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's also a lot of like imagery. He says he's from the Wiz to Camelot. Obviously talking about the two electronic music stores, what's it called, like CD record stores. We
Mm,
don't really have them anymore, but that was where he
no.
went and got his music, right, and where he got
Yeah.
his fix.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of where he was, a lot of imagery about his whole area, Queensbridge and whatnot. So
Yep.
not a bad
Yep.
track, but also
Nope.
not the most hard hitting.
Memorable one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the second to last track, Represent.
Yep. Now this one I do really like.
My favorite track on the album.
Is it?
Yes.
I can see that.
Uh, it's just the beat is so hard and so in your face
Yeah.
without being abrasive.
Yeah.
It just
I
gets me,
do.
man. It's
I
so
love the
good.
chimes.
Yeah,
I love the chimes. I
it's
don't know
just so
what
good,
it's
man.
called, but like I love the chimes in it
Yeah, yeah,
in the
yeah.
beat. Yeah. But the beat, I feel like it's that's what it sounded to me. It was a very much a contrast to the content matter of the song,
Yes,
because I kind of felt like it was like a kind of positive ish beat with the
yes,
chimes and stuff, but he's talking about he's really talking big in this song.
yes,
Obviously, he has to represent his neighborhood,
yes.
um,
This is
and
literally just a flex. This is
yeah,
a
it is. Yeah,
I'm from the hood, kind
yeah,
of. I'm from
yeah,
Queensbridge.
I'm
Yes.
not to be fucked with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I there's a lot of very iconic lines in this.
Mm.
I like the way how he ends the first verse, pulling a tech out the dresser. Police got me under pressure. It's just very visceral, you know. You can see
Yeah.
police are running up on him. He want to shoot back.
Well,
Um, he
not a
also
smart
says he's
idea,
not.
but
From what I get from this, he says won't even run about gods. I don't believe in none of that shit. Your facts are backwards. So if
mm,
to me that sort of gets that sort of means that he's not really very religious, but he's been portrayed as
yeah.
religious.
Mm.
And I don't really know where that's from. Um,
I
but yeah,
think what I feel like is um in those areas, I feel like Christianity or just going to church is kind of mandatory.
Yes, it is in the United States in general, yeah. But he has a lot of Muslim callbacks, and I imagine that's because he also mentions here. I don't think it's in this song, but it's in one of them. Malcolm X, which was obviously Muslim. So I think that's what's going on here, right? He's been he's been loped in with the religious group, and he's like, nah, I'm not really religious.
Yeah.
He has
yeah, sorry. Go on.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, go
You first. You first.
Was this a song where he mentions the Jackson 5?
Yes.
Was that the
yes.
No,
I think it's this
one.
one.
It's this one. Yeah.
Yes. There are so many lines here. He says, the brutalizer, the crudicizer, as in he's de-sizing your crew, shooting them down. Accelerator, the type of N-word who be pissing in your elevator. And it's just such an unnecessary rhyme, but it's also so like it's just so fucking
you just
cool.
you just gotta assert your dominance.
I know that's exactly
you gotta
what it
be
is,
a
right?
dog.
It's unnecessary on all occasions, but it's very, very cool. The third verse is where he really pops off. He goes, he goes, could use a gun, son, but fuck being the wanted man. But if I hit rock bottom, then I'm gonna be the Son of Sam. And Son of Sam was obviously a very well-known bomb maker who sent bombs, if I recall correctly, to people. And so that reference is no, wait, he's not. No, he's not. Sorry, he's not bomb guy. He is a serial killer who pled guilty to 8 shootings. He was also called the 44 caliber killer, and so that's basically him saying, if I hit rock bottom, I'm gonna shoot my way out, and I'm gonna get as many of you guys as I can. Right?
I would listening to that, I would think of Uncle Sam first.
I know, right? It's only because I know that reference that it hits that hard.
Yeah.
Yes, and he also talks about Glocks, and like weapons everywhere. This is, I will say also, this is one where the hook is so good. Again, very simple. Represent, represent, but it just works. It just works.
Yeah.
It gets you
it gets you like a.
Yeah, exactly.
Kinda...
Exactly. I don't know, man. It just has something about it. And again, it's DJ Premier who produces it. Very simple beat. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not a lot to say. It's literally just him bigging himself up. Very nice.
I'm the man. He's the man.
Yes.
Yep.
I also like the outro where he does name drop a lot of people. Where he name drops his crew, the Shorty Busters, the 41st site of Vernon Posse, the Goodfellas. He name drops all sorts of people, and that's kind of cool that he's like, he's picking himself up, but he's also kind of giving a shout out to all the homies. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then the final track, It Ain't Hard to Tell.
Yeah.
I like this track. I think it's a very.
I love it.
Yeah, I would say I love it as well.
I would almost argue it's one of the best samples I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't even know what it's sampled from.
It's Michael Jackson, Human Nature.
Is it just Human Nature? That's wild, man. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
It's one of the best like samples of uses of a song I've ever heard.
I agree.
So good, and he just flows and just on top of it so well. I think this is my favorite song.
I could get that. I could get that for sure.
It's very close because I feel like almost the whole album on the one like One Love, losing my words. Every song is great. I just didn't like One Love that much, but that's why I feel like it's pretty hard to pick a favorite.
Yes, I agree with you. I will also say they are very similar tracks in the sense that it's not like when you hear a Kendrick Lamar album,
Yeah.
there's a very big variety in beats and how he expresses himself, and
Hmm.
or even if you go to something like Jid or Denzel Curry, where they're like, we reviewed Taboo last time, where it's such a big difference in beat and
Yeah.
intensity and stuff, and that
Yep.
is where this album is very it's very easy to listen to this album from front to back,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
it's just, they all fit together. They're all sort of the same tone and
Yeah.
delivery, and
Yeah.
so yes,
Hmm.
I agree with you. Except for One Love, it's very easy to go wrong with this
Yeah.
track, with this album.
Mm.
It's just very, very good. I will
Yep.
say this is the easiest like followable rhymes. I feel like this is
Mm.
very, very short and sweet bars. They're
Yep.
easy to follow. You can listen to the verses, know exactly what he's talking about. He name drops a lot
Hmm.
of stuff that's very easy to tell, like the Shining,
Mm.
the movie The Shining. He name drops a
Yep.
lot of the other stuff, Tech Nines, that he does from other stuff. He
Hmm.
does mention Aesop, which is Aesop is apparently a fables, like a collection of writings with some moral lessons, which I didn't catch.
Oh.
But yeah, he name drops Shaquille O'Neal. So there's a
You
lot
gotta
of
have
funny things.
you gotta have at least one Shaquille O'Neal
Gotta
bar
have Shaq
in your
reference in
album.
there. Yeah, yeah. Is it really an album if you don't really?
Not really.
So yeah. He
Taboo
also-
did.
Taboo did, yes. He also
Yeah.
name drops Sylvester Stallone, which I think is pretty cool. So he's
Yeah.
kind of all over the place, and this feels like it's almost just a show off. This is like I'm gonna just show you all what I can do, and just free flow and have a lot of fun.
Yep.
Kind of ending to the album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah.
Should we do
some closing thoughts?
the closing thoughts are as follows. This is the easiest 10 out of 10 album for me ever.
I would agree. I think I would agree.
It is because not only is the rapping itself so well executed, he delivers on such a high level. He is 2021 when he does this. It's
that's
just
the crazy
it's
part.
just natural talent, right?
I can't get over the fact he was 20 when he dropped it.
Yes, it's mental, man. Also,
I remember where I was when I was 20.
exactly right.
Jesus.
I think the other part is that they've held up so well. Where there are some albums where you go and listen to them, and you go, like, for instance, we listened to Taboo last time. I don't think Taboo has aged nearly as well as this has. This is a raw like viewing into what it was like living in Queensbridge in 1993-94 whenever he recorded this, and it still holds up today. The production is top notch, mostly because I think it's very simple. The production, there's not a lot of fancy stuff going on.
Yeah. And I feel like the subject matter doesn't get outdated because
exactly.
it's still so prevalent.
Mhm.
As to with like, because there's some old, like, let's say Eminem songs or something
Yeah.
that back in the day it was popping because
Yeah.
it's current, but then nowadays it's like it almost starts to sound a bit corny
Yes, yeah, for sure. I agree.
because not because it's bad, but just because it gets outdated. Like, not the song itself, but just the context and
Yes,
the
yes.
content matter just gets a bit outdated.
I agree.
But for this, it doesn't, because it's what every day is. Basically, people still go through the same things,
Yeah.
and I feel like we'll go through the same things till the end of time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Until we're like some hive mind being or something. But
Until we get taken over by aliens and we
yeah,
can no longer.
or we get transported into the metaverse where we have a chip
Yeah.
in our back, and
I also think this is the easiest connection to some of the rappers you and I enjoy the most now. Like I said in the beginning, it's very easy to see where Jid, Denzel Curry, Kendrick Lamar got their inspiration from, and why it's very easy to see why this is held in such high regard. Where when you view, so I don't think there's any debate that MF Doom, for instance, has had a very, very big impact on the rap scene in general. But it's much harder to access and to listen to MF Doom. Where this you put on, and the instant the beat hits New York State of Mind, mind, you know exactly what it is, and it hits just as hard now as it did when it dropped in 1994. Yep. So yes, should we do top 3 songs?
Sure. Let me pull them up. Well, you go first then.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Represent is my number 1. Yeah. Just for the whole, like I said, the whole feeling and groove and whatnot. New York State of Mind is second, and It Ain't Hard to Tell is probably the third. That's a close one between It Ain't Hard to Tell and Halftime. It's the third one. It could be either or.
I think for me, it's number 1 is It Ain't Hard to Tell. For me, number 2 is New York State of Mind. The piano beat alone,
instant classic.
That on number 2. Would put that on number 2 for me.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna go The World Is Yours, number 3. Yeah,
solid choices.
Yep.
You want to do the? Are you looking at the play numbers?
No.
You want to do my notes. You want to do the, because this is an interesting one.
Okay, sure. We'll do play numbers. Yeah.
Which one do you think is the most listened to?
Okay. It has to be New York State of Mind.
Yes.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
It has 212 million, which I actually am surprised by that it's not higher than that.
212 million?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Hotline Bling is on like 1 billion or something.
Yes.
Or shit like that.
Unfortunately,
really?
Yeah. I think, but that will be the case with a lot of albums that came out before Spotify, right?
But I do, that's what I feel like. I do feel like that has to do with this coming out in 94 and being on CDs. I feel like no one would put this on Spotify if you could just pop in a CD or pop on a vinyl and just sit there with a vinyl player and just vibe out.
Yes, the sound
I
quality.
do agree.
Because I can only imagine how good. I don't have it on vinyl. I don't have any rap albums on vinyl, I think. But I can only imagine how good the sound must be compared to what we get in Spotify. So that's number 1. What do you think is number 2?
Ain't Hard to Tell?
No.
Ooh. All right. Let me get two tries. World Is Yours.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
It has 127 million. So somewhat
pretty close.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Huh. And then what is number 3? The last one in the top 3.
I said It Ain't Hard to Tell, but I'm gonna swap it to Life's a Bitch.
You should have stuck with your first instinct.
Fuck.
It ain't hard to tell. 67 million, so quite a drop off. But yeah.
All right.
Not surprisingly, the least played track is the Genesis, if you call that a track.
Yeah.
Not taking that into account, it is One Time for Your Mind, which I actually find very.
The least?
Yeah, this least played 20 million only. So, and that's a very big jump because the second least played is 30 million, which is One Love, which makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. All in all, just this is a classic for a reason. This is for me, this has to be on the Mount Rushmore. If you did 4 albums that changed hip hop, this has to be out there. Sure. It's so iconic. It cements Nas as not only probably the best rapper at the time, but also the it's so there's no filler. This is just 10 rock solid tracks, all well produced, all with the same tone, all depicting the style of New York at the time, the tone of New York at the time, what it was like living in New York at the time, and probably still is some places in New York. Such a solid track, such a solid album in general.
Yep, I agree.
Would recommend.
Good job, Nas.
Good job, Nas. Yeah, good job.
All right, everyone, you know what time it is. It's time for the last call. Everyone, order your last drinks, get your last kisses.
This bar is closing. This bar is
closing. And you know what we like to do? We like to go a bit deeper because we're already a bit tipsy and we like to, explore ourselves a bit. Have a bit of therapy, maybe, But it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. No. Because last 2 times we've had, criticizing yourself, some doubts, some regrets. But this time, let me ask you, what's one thing you really like about yourself?
Aw, that's nice.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I really like about the way I act is I'm always true to my own beliefs. Like I hold my integrity very high,
Yep.
and I don't really let anybody come between me and like I don't get swayed easily. I think is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's because I feel like that's in short demand these days. I feel like it's very easy to get one side of the story on social media or whatever, and then people don't do their due diligence and research and whatnot, and then you just end up in Donald Trump land all of a sudden or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's difficult nowadays because, and it's also very easy to just hear out one side because obviously if you're let's say you're friends with someone, obviously you would hear their side out and empathize more with their side than it is to empathize with someone they're arguing with or they're fighting with.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do agree that I do like, having all sides of stories and taking everything into account because you have to be accountable for your friends too. I feel like and talk some sense to them sometimes.
100%. There's a big. I think that's a big misconception is that when you're friends, you cannot constructively criticize the other person. But obviously you can, and obviously you have to take some responsibility for the other. If you see your friend doing something that's way out of line or that could potentially harm them or someone else, of course you're obligated to say, hey, what's going on, man? This doesn't seem like you, or are you aware of these consequences, or however you want to do it, right? So I 100% agree with you, and it is very easy in this very digital age, and in general to get information that's wrong or to end up in a somewhat of a echo chamber where you don't really get to test the things. In Denmark right now, we have a very shocking trial going on with a 16-year-old boy that's that has been doing Nazi terror. Apparently, he's joined a terror organization called the Feuerkrieg Division, which is apparently a neo-Nazi group, and he's planned on bombing children's daycares and whatnot. And like it's wild. And his defense is, but that's just something I see on the internet. What happens on the internet is not real. And that kind of blows my mind that that's actually his defense, right? Like it just shows how much of an impact you can have, and the internet can have, like without even yeah, it's wild. How about you though? What's one thing you like about yourself?
I think
your stunning jawline. Is that what's going on? Look at this rock hard.
I think it would be my ability to be very uplifting to other people.
I agree with that.
And being able to just be in a room and kind of, even though I feel like I'm very introverted in some areas, I feel like I'm very extroverted in areas where I feel like kind of hyping other people up.
I agree.
So I feel like that's one of my favorite things about me.
That makes sense. It did take me a long time because I'm like you in some sense. I am a classic introvert. I need alone time to recharge batteries and to just be myself and whatnot. But on the other hand, I'm also I need the social interactions and whatnot. And we've talked about this a lot. Where if we're at a party, we are sure to be the center of the party because we're just that. As it probably presumes that we're doing a podcast, we would like to be in the center of attention, playing beer pong, having funny interactions, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I agree. Making sure everyone's having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if not everyone's having fun,
it's never fun to be at a party.
Yeah,
and someone goes, I'm not. You can see someone is visibly not doing well or whatever. That's not fun because we can't all have a 10 out of 10 time, but we can at least make sure that all people are having a 6 or 7 out of 10 time or somewhere in between, right? So I agree with you 100%.
Yep. I think and I feel like that's necessary in
this
this day and age to, just be there for each other and uplift each other basically, and just
I,
like the album we've just we've
yeah.
just covered, just um the world is yours.
Yes,
And
I think it's also about taking the time to, because what you're saying is basically it's no good if it's just me having a fun time. So taking the time out to
yeah.
identify who needs that bit of extra. Hey, you can do it,
Hmm.
or are you
Yeah.
okay? Can I do anything for you to make it better, or whatever?
Yep.
To include other people and to make them feel like they're part of something, and that is
Hmm.
really necessary now. And I feel like we have had a lot of talks about COVID and all that,
Yeah.
whatever ended up after that. But I think that's one of the things that has been the
Hmm.
hardest for people is re-socializing and
Yep.
getting back into that sort of mode where you can be with other people at a party scene or whatever and still feel
Hmm.
included. So I agree with you. That's a very needed thing to make everybody feel like they're
Yep.
having a good time and whatnot. I
Yep.
agree.
I agree. So if you have any friends, tell them they can do things. If they have any
Yeah,
dreams, let them go for it. Stop being a bitch. Stop saying they
I
can't
agree.
do anything, and just love each other. And I think that's a really nice way to end.
I agree. But and at the same time do both. Tell them, hey, you got to step it up a bit, but also tell them you're doing really well. You can do it.
Yep.
I'm here for you. All that stuff.
Hmm.
Keep
Yep.
an eye on each other, peeps.
Yes, sir.
Cheerios.
Cheers to that. So with that, I want to thank everyone for watching.
Yes.
Um, and I guess we'll see everyone next time. Don't forget to like. If you have any comments, any tips for us, like we definitely needed some audio tips on the last video. Pop them down in the comments.
Why didn't anyone, we're
Yeah, we
yes.
will always we will try to respond to as much as we can. And
If there's an album you want us to listen to, tips about
yep,
subjects, tips about
yep,
artists we might not be aware of,
yep.
anything you think we should be aware of, let us know.
Hmm. Anything you would want covered, if you have any problems, put them down so we can cover them in the last call. We love to help.
Exactly.
Um, and if anything, let us know. With that, I feel like I bid you all farewell.
Farewell, good
And
sirs.
until next week.